It's Sunday night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.
Yeah, it's the Conjugal Visit Show coming to you live from the St. Louis area, Buffalo, New York, and around the world. My friend, my cyber friend, Guido. That's your new name, man. Guido is with us. Yeah, cyber friend, because I've never really met you in person. We have never met in person.
You're a pigment of my imagination.
Yeah, a Max Headroom.
Right.
Max Headroom kind of thing going on.
You never turn your camera on no more.
No, I don't turn my camera on because I don't expect you want to see this ugly face. Yeah, at least ways.
At least when you turn the camera on, I know for sure when you're really not paying attention.
Yeah. Well, I try to give you signals and shit, and you just ignore me anyway. So I said, why bother going on cam?
Taking your pants off.
It's not like we're doing porn or nothing.
Signals.
It's not like we're doing porn or anything. You know. So,
Yeah. Well, you almost did that one night, when you got down to your skivvies right in front of the whole world.
Yeah, well, I was. Yes, I was. If you missed that show, folks, you missed a hell of a show because I did the entire show in my skivvies.
Yeah.
And it was well worth it.
You kids under 50, that means underwear.
Yeah, it's skivvies. I think that night too, it was colder than a well digger's ass out there, outside, and yeah, I remember that.
Have you ever like touched a well digger's ass or like?
No, can you imagine butt cleavage out in the freezing cold? I'm sure.
So how do you know the well digger's ass was cold?
Well, he told me.
Oh, all right.
He said my ass is cold.
Yeah. So
I never met a well digger that I didn't like. Okay. So anyway,
I never met one. I mean, I think
you've never met a well digger?
I've met people that sit behind the fucking tractor.
I was a well digger. I dug wells, man, in Kansas and northern Oklahoma and northern Texas. Yeah, I was drilling for oil, man. I was a roughneck for about 18 months.
With a shovel or like a tool?
No, with, big fucking oil dike and shit, fucking drilling into the ground.
You said dike. That's not.
No, I'm not talking about a dike. I'm talking about the oil rig and shit.
A ditch digger colder than a well digger's ass. That means he's digging it by hand, and his front part, his body's in the well, and his ass is sticking out. That's the only way it can get cold. If you're sitting in some machine,
trust me, man. If you're out there drilling for oil in January or February in Kansas, you're colder than hell.
Is there oil in Kansas?
There's oil in Kansas, yes. Southern Kansas, there's oil. Most of Oklahoma, there's oil, and in Texas, that's why. All this, and anyway, there's lots of oil all the way down to Houston. It's a river, man, all the way down.
About oil, where do you think the majority of the Earth's olive oil comes from? What country would you say?
I would say Greece.
I would say Greece or like Italy, but it's not. It's like Venezuela or something like that.
Venezuela? Really?
Yeah, I was like, what? I would think it would be Italy because every single bottle of olive oil you buy says some Italian name on it,
yeah,
but no, it's not.
Really? Not even Sicily or Rome or Italy or anything? No way.
Here's another a brain teaser for you. How much of the Earth's water supply is fresh water? What percentage you think?
What percentage of it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't know 80%. I'm guessing.
3.
3%
Only 3% of the Earth's water
is fresh water.
right. I mean, and you could just drink it at the source, and you don't have to filter it or anything else. I don't think Mexico was part of the 3%.
No, you can't drink the water in Mexico. Been there, done that, and regretted it.
You're not even supposed to like brush your teeth with the Mexican.
No, it's poison.
Right.
It's
And
poison
that's,
to the
you know,
human body.
They're not like a shithole country like anymore. They have big cities and they have money. Why don't they just put a filtration system in the damn place? You know.
Well, I mean, some of those places down there, and now down there in Baja, down in that area. If you go further south in Nogales, they do. Most of most of the hotels have fresh water. They even tell you when you check into the hotel that they have clean, fresh water that you can bathe in and brush your teeth and things like that. They don't recommend drinking it in excess, but they do. But they do tell you, and they put bottled water in the rooms.
Right.
But they do have some of the cities down there do, and Mexico
just
City,
the tourist cities.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't want to be drinking it. The pH level's way too high.
But here's my thing of it. Okay, say you're out at the bar in Mexico and you like Jack Daniels and Coke or whiskey and water. That Coca-Cola is going to be mixed with the water from the source. So
The ice. The ice.
Everything.
But they have ice makers there, I guess. I don't know. They don't have the regulations that we have. For the longest time when you were in Mexico, you could get beer, and every beer you drank was a different alcohol level. You never knew whether you were getting 25% or 8% or 7%. Not like here in the U.S. where it's regulated down to, you get a certain percentage of alcohol.
Everything's regulated in the United States. It's ridiculous with it. Like, I remember, you can't even, I don't even know what the beer rate is. I'm drinking a beer right now. Let's see what the alcohol percentage is on it. It's probably shit because it's Michelob Light, but it doesn't say. But
it should be 12%. It should be 12.
Is it 12%? I don't think it's 12%.
Yeah, it's 12%, and then they have the 3.2 beer.
Right.
But the light doesn't mean the alcohol level. The light means
it's just the flavor,
the calories,
and the flavor.
Yeah.
Too. I like light beer because I don't like beer really. So
yeah,
but I can enjoy the light beer. But like these guys and stuff now, it's like the new hipster thing and the new craze to get all this craft beer and all this different shit.
Oh yeah.
And I've tried.
I'm not into it.
Oh, I've tried them. I said I'm going to give them a chance because everybody's drinking them. Let me try.
Right.
They're disgusting.
Yeah, they're not filtered, man.
No,
it's not filtered beer.
Well, they had this one called Pork Slap, and it was bacon flavored beer.
Ick. Who wants bacon flavored beer? That doesn't appeal to me.
They got chocolate ones. And like my brother, he's 40 years old, so he's still like in that genre of those people that are the craft beer drinkers. And that he's always got like. He doesn't have beer ever. It's always like Uncle Jed's Twisted Beer or something. I mean, it's always something that's like, you want a beer? That's not a fucking beer. I mean, I drink like Michelob Light or Budweiser or Bud Light. I only like American beers. I don't like Canadian beers. I don't like imported beers. I do like Dos Equis, though. I will say that.
I love Dos Equis. I had a couple of Dos Equis the other night at the restaurant we went to. I'm going to give them a plug because it's really great food here. If you're ever out in the Arnold area, the L.A. area, actually it's not L.A., it's mid Arnold. If you're ever in that area, you want to go to Las Fuentes. It's behind the Walmart.
I'd like to go into Daisy Fuentes.
Yeah.
So they got good food. What is Las Fuentes?
Las Fuentes, yes, Las Fuentes.
I
had a couple. I had their.
Oh,
Yeah, Mary Jane's coming in to join us here. Hey, MJ, you hear us now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, she's still picking up her. She's picking up her headphones, going, "Oh my god, oh my god."
Which one is it? Oh, so I did a mobile DJ gig today.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I played at a 12-year-old's birthday party for 3 hours.
A 12-year-old birthday party?
Yeah,
how fun was that?
Yeah, they paid me good money too, and tipped me, and I mean it was. I thought, oh my god, 12-year-old girls, what am I going to do? All I did was play the music. I looked at the top 50 on the charts right now in pop music, and they were happy the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting though. I've never played for a little kid's birthday party like that.
Right.
But she's not there, huh?
Yeah, she's there. She's having a hard time picking up. I'm gonna call her again
She's
here.
shy.
No, she's not shy. You know MJ's not shy.
Hello?
MJ is not shy by
Did you
any
forget
stretch
how to
of the
press the button?
imagination.
No, Skype froze.
Yeah, Skype froze. I know what happened there.
Good.
Did
No, I'm
you?
not shy.
You're drinking that Mexican water.
No Mexican water. Stop
Don't
pouring
drink the
water,
bong
baby.
water, MJ. You're not supposed to
Bong
drink
water's stinky. No,
the
never
you
that.
icky.
I've
Never.
drank it before.
You've
Oh,
drank
you're
bong
crazy.
water? Oh, that's disgusting, man. Everybody's sputum is in there. Ugh. Yeah, you don't share your bong, do you?
Well, I gotta ask, did it get you stoned?
I don't. I was already there, so I couldn't tell you. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have drank bong water if I was not. You know.
You don't want to drink the bong water, man.
Yeah.
Do not
why? It's
drink the bong
good.
water.
Did you ever do like vodka?
Vodka?
Yeah.
I'm not really a vodka girl.
I'm from New York.
No.
It's vodka.
Are you a beer girl? What kind of beer do you like?
I like whiskey, but I do like beer. My favorite's probably Hefeweizen, Newcastle. I like Blue Moon.
She's on that trend, man.
She's on that trend. Yeah.
She's on that trend we were
We
just
were
talking about.
that before you came on. That, like, you know, I drink like Nick Light and Budweiser and whatever, and the new trend with like 30 somethings and 20 somethings is the craft beers and you know, the local beers and all this and the bacon beer and the
The
blueberry
microbreweries
beer.
made in
I don't
their
know about
bathtub.
bacon beer. That does not sound good. Blueberry beer, though, does sound good.
You know
You know
what?
what? You know what I
Beer.
just tried though? I tried strawberry beer.
Ick.
No, it actually tasted
Tastes
good.
like-
Isn't that like a malt liquor, though?
No,
No.
it's real beer now. They
It's just a
flavor it.
regular ale, and they just add a little strawberry to it.
Oh, no way.
Sometimes
It's
different.
good.
But
How about
I like
chocolate beer? They got a chocolate beer?
Yes, they do.
I've tasted the chocolate beer. It's just like a really dark beer. I didn't taste the chocolate.
Okay.
And for you know, those converters, they got the semen flavored beer. You know, and
Oh, yeah, well,
it's
yeah.
really salty though.
Have you ever had a cum shot, MJ?
No, what is that?
It's it's
Other than what it is, you know.
no, it's a I guess it's a shot of Kahlua in hey, if anybody knows the recipe to the cum shot, send it to me here in the chat room.
All right,
Come
let me turn
over
my
to
camera and I'll show you.
come over to the Spreaker chat room.
I got a
and-
joke for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what do you call nuts on the wall?
I don't know.
What?
Walnuts. All right.
Walnuts. Okay, that's good.
What do you call nuts on the chest?
Chestnut.
Chestnuts.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, one more. What do you call nuts on a chin?
Chin nuts.
No, good girl.
Good girl. Good girl nuts. That's a good girl. Yeah, you're a sick bastard. You know that.
I am. I really am. And I have plenty of jokes, but you know, I don't normally say them because I don't want to.
Because you don't want to. Oh, I see. I see how you are. So
I'm funnier than the stand-up comedian we had on.
yeah. Well, that's not hard. But MJ, you like regular beer too, though? I mean, do you like any Budweiser products or Miller, or what's your
No.
preference when it comes to straight
Okay.
beer?
Budweiser is like, it's like watered down crap. So is like Miller beer, Corona, all that. I like imported beer. The best kind of beer you're gonna get is from another country or
So Heineken, maybe?
Heineken.
I disagree with that because I disagree.
Sapporo is really yummy. Japanese beer, I love Japanese beer.
Well,
Wow,
I like-
she really
I like
gets into
American beer. I like American beer. And let me tell you something. Where
Well,
I
what-
live,
Give me an American beer.
I'm drinking Michelob Light right now.
See, I don't like any light. I like to get drunk.
Like beer, light beer is not less alcohol. It's just less fucking bloatiness. You can drink more light beer actually than you could a regular beer.
Yeah, because it's not as heavy.
Right.
You know, I prefer whiskey. 'Cause,
But you
know,
do piss more, right?
Well, that's the thing. if you drink beer, you got to go to the bathroom all the time.
I
Right.
go to the bathroom like a little girl all the time anyway. So that
Well, if you just take a couple shots of like some strong liquor, you're good to go.
you know what I have to do, and this is funny. And I don't know, some other people out there might do this. Say I go to a new restaurant for the first time, or a new mall, or a new anything. I have to fucking go to the bathroom. I need to check that bathroom out. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
your first time in a place?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you do that?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
How about you, MJ?
I hate public restrooms. I like to go potty
You know-
before I go anywhere. And if I can avoid it, then I will. But if I have to go, then I'll, I guess.
Well, we don't have to worry about it because we just stand and go, you know. And they have those little funnels that you can buy if you want to be like us. And
Exactly.
You know, that's a special kind of person that doesn't like to go. You know, there are people who don't like to go in public restrooms. They've got a phobia against it. I wonder if there's a phobia for that.
Well, it's not so much a phobia, but man, well, I can't. Well, you guys know. I mean, aren't your urinals and bathrooms sometimes just disgusting and gross?
Yeah, but I'm not touching it.
I'll take a shit on a fucking
Okay,
5-gallon bucket. I don't care.
a girl has to like freaking sit on some nasty shit.
I've taken shits in public restrooms.
Well, mostly, I mean,
Yeah.
women are more courteous than men are when it comes to pissing.
Yeah,
We'll
you
piss
would
on
be-
the wall.
yeah, you would be surprised. I've gone into women's bathroom and there has been feces and blood and all kinds of.
Okay. Let me tell you something about this. I was head of like housekeeping for a hospital for a while. Every woman's room was always messier than any men's room. I swear to God, they'd be like, "Do not flush tampons down the drain." Straight down, every time.
Every time. Yep.
You know, mess
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
I worked at a bar. When I worked at a bar, the women's restroom got all clogged up, right, one night. And so we go down there with the little rotor-rooter thing, you know, the handheld rotor-rooter thing, to see if we can clear the drain. And we catch something. It's like catching a fucking catfish, man. And we reel up, and sure enough, man, on a string, man, there's like 5 of them. 5 tampons, one right after the other. And me and the guy that were doing it, we were going, oh, that's gross. And we thought about it for a minute, but we figured, you know, it might be against the health code if we dragged it into the manager's office and said, look what we found. You know, so we just kind of discarded it.
I would have still dragged it in there.
Look at this shit, will you? Told you to put up signs.
Well, you know what the thing of it is it doesn't matter if you get the signs up or anyways. There's just some idiots out there that don't care. You know, and it's not every man or every woman that, you know, ruins bathrooms or whatever. It's just a select few in each city.
Right.
MJ,
I don't know. I just say if you can go before you go, just go at your house.
yeah, but what
Just
if you
go
do
to your
it
house.
all-
Oh, I agree with you, MJ. I'm more comfortable taking a crap at home than I am at
Well,
work.
then if you have to use it at the place you're at, I hope you find a clean place to.
Oh, I will shit at your house at the first time I meet you. Hey, what's up? I'm coming over. I will shit at your house. I don't care.
You will shit in my house?
Yeah,
I don't want you coming over here, man.
I will. I will because why? Why not? If you invite me into your home, you're expecting me to be comfortable. And if I got a shit, I ain't gonna hold that damn thing.
No,
Well, no, you shouldn't have to hold your shit.
no, you shouldn't have to hold your shit. No,
Right.
no, you
And
shouldn't.
trust me, if I hold it too long and it explodes, it's gonna be worse anyways.
How did this turn into a
So,
conversation?
this is we've gone from beer to taking a crap. So.
It'll be like that episode, that scene from Dumb and Dumber, where she's like, "Don't flush the toilet," and he already shit.
Oh yeah. Don't whatever you do, don't flush the toilet.
Right.
Did you ever see what is it? Along Came Polly.
Yes.
Ben Stiller has to go potty, and he goes in the bathroom, and he couldn't find anything to wipe his ass with, so he uses the loop. I don't know. It was all bad. He ends up flooding her bathroom.
Yeah. That was great scene in one of the most well acted scenes in American cinema, I think. Or Ben Stiller always has a great bathroom scene. What about in Something About Mary when he zipped up his penis in his?
Oh yeah, in a zipper. Oh, then that's painful. You ever done that, Guido?
More than I would like to admit. Yes.
Really painful, huh?
Oh, the poor guys.
It's worse when you not so much when you do the shaft, but if you get the little guys in there, sometimes.
Oh, I got the ball sack in there, man. It hurt like a I cried.
Yeah,
I
that
cried.
hurts.
I screamed like a little girl. It
Well,
hurt
see,
like hell.
MJ, that was back in the '70s when he wore tight ass nutbuster pants and they didn't wear underwear.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
You
what's
know.
underwear? I don't want to wear underwear.
Yeah, shorts in the '70s for the men were so short that
Oh,
it was
our good friend, and someone you might know, MJ, Hooligan, says your shot recipe is schnapps, Bailey's Irish cream with whipped cream, and that's a cum shot.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a
I've
cum
never
shot.
tried. I've never tried one before. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's
I should
good.
have
It's
my
sweet,
Hooligan
I guess.
serve me one.
Not quite as salty as what you might imagine. After
No.
all, no,
no, that's not so.
it sounds a little sweet to me.
Yeah.
You guys are horrible.
Well,
Well, that's what they say. I don't know. I've never done it.
yeah. That's what I've been
How
told.
do you know it's salty?
Well, that's what I've been told.
Well, mine's probably a little
I
oily.
mean, I got. Yeah, you're sick, man.
I'm the Guido, you know.
You're wrong. You're
Oh
just
my
wrong.
God.
Now, is it true if the man eats pineapple and real sweet fruits,
It-
that
it's-
their
Buddy.
ejaculate tastes better?
actually, food does make a big difference. They say.
If you eat a lot of fatty foods, it's supposed to create a nastier,
But I'm American, so I eat bacon and coffee.
eat bacon, drink coffee, and
Yeah.
I have canned vegetables and fruits. I don't buy fresh fruit
Why not?
because I'm an American. That's the way the American way is. I keep people employed. Somebody's got to make them fucking cans.
Well, you just get put some next
If I buy fresh fruit, I'm keeping illegals in business.
Oh,
You know, I'm.
no.
Oh,
None of that.
oh no! I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Come on, it was just a joke.
And y'all would be freaking sad and you know it. There's no your fucking oranges. There'd be no places to get tacos.
Well, you know what's funny about Taco Bell, though? It's Mexican food.
Well, it is not.
Listen to me.
Taco
You-
Bell Americanized Mexican food. Mexicans actually laugh at Taco Bell and think it's funny.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mexicans don't drink Corona that much. You'd be surprised how little they drink. They drink
Jello.
Modelo and
Ekis.
Modelo. Is that what it is?
I like
Yeah.
those Ekis with a little bit of lemon and salt. Yum.
No, I just
Yeah.
drink it straight.
I like the dark with a lime. I like the Dos Equis with a lime. The dark.
I just miss the guy, man. He's dead now, and that's sad.
They sent him to Mars, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna do commercials from Mars, dude.
That'd
You didn't
be
know?
awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
He truly was the most interesting man I ever seen.
Yes, he was truly the most interesting man in the world. Yes, he was.
What,
Well,
you know who else is interesting?
Uh,
I don't know, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
well, our artist of the week this week is the Black Crows.
Very great band, in my opinion.
Yeah, kick-ass band. They rock out. And I was surprised, man. You're coming up with some pretty good bands, man.
I am
Hey,
the king.
we're not letting the audience, our fan base,
Visitors.
our listeners, vote anymore. For now, we may bring it back in the fall, but for now,
Why not?
you're
Well, we
making.
weren't getting enough votes.
Votes.
I mean, we were
Oh.
paying for the service
And
because
nobody was doing it.
and nobody was doing it. Get 2 or 3, and it just wasn't feasible. You know what I mean?
Okay, well,
It didn't make
listeners,
sense.
if you want that brought back, y'all better start voting for the station and proving that you guys know how to press buttons.
Yeah, it's not that hard, man, and it doesn't cost anything. I think they're all scared.
And if you don't like to press buttons, go buy yourself a touchscreen. Then you just click on it.
Well, last night I went to see Nine Lives and Trey's Hombres. Okay, and that's a
ZZ Top.
yeah, it's ZZ Top. And I got to tell you, man, that Trey's Hombres, man, them boys were good. 3-piece band,
That means
guitar,
three dudes-
bass,
that
and
means
drum.
3 dudes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Three
three
guys.
dudes, 3 guys with beards. Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a good show, and Nine Lives was really good. A lot of REO Speedwagon going through the night, and they did a great job. It was a great show. A light crowd, but it was a great show, and I had a really good time. And I had the chance to introduce the band, Nine Lives, and it was the most horrible introduction ever. I stumbled, I stowed. No, I just kind of froze. I looked out there in the audience and I said, "Oh, fuck, here I am again," and I don't know what to say. So, yeah, it was
Just
the
said,
worst.
we love you, Cleveland.
Yeah, hello, St. Louis, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of, one of those things. I didn't want to sound stupid, but at the same time, I ended up sounding stupid because I blanked out for a minute. So, but anyways,
Did
they
get video?
it was a no. Nobody got video. Thank God, Connie did not get video on that one because I'll tell you what, that was the worst. I was embarrassed. I had to leave.
Aw.
Yeah, it was bad.
You'll do better next
Yeah,
time.
I will. I'll get
It is
better.
a
I
little
got
bit nerve wracking though to get up and have to
introduce the
announce
band. You're
something
standing
in
on the
front of
stage. You got the
people.
spotlights on you and shit. The place
You know
is
how many
dark.
times I've done it?
Oh, I know, and and it seems like a natural thing to do, but when you get up there and you look out there, and it's kind of like okay, and you got the band behind you, and and you want to build them up, and I tried my best to build them up, and it didn't go over very well, but that's okay. I'll get it back. We'll do it again and have fun
I
with
did
it.
that Friday night too. I announced bands for a party that was going on in here in Buffalo, and I did. Plugged. We played KGF Rocks in between the bands setting up and
Cool.
taking down. So it was really cool. But it takes a different kind of personality or a different thing. It's when you're talking on the microphone here, you could say
It's different. You don't see people. You don't see who is listening. Like you can just be yourself when you're behind the mic, but when you're in front of people, it's different. They see who you are. They see you.
Yeah, and if you got any kind of self-conscious problems, then, you're like, oh shit, here we go.
I'm always the best looking person anywhere I am. So
Yeah, we got that part.
I think I would feel insecure.
why?
I don't know. I think just being.
Well, when you get
I think I would be insecure. I don't even like being on camera with people.
Okay, like I would be insecure about maybe singing on stage because I'm really not that good at singing. Okay, but
Yeah.
just something that you do every day of your life, talk. I mean, if you lest you forget how to talk, I don't. Maybe that's me. I've been doing, speaking things. I even do like. People have charities and stuff, and they need the MC, and they'll call me, and I'll the whole day, 4, 5, 6 hours, just talking all day.
See, I would love to do that, but I think I'm shy if I'm in person. But I have no fucking problem voicing my opinion or saying anything on the mic
yeah.
on a radio station. It's weird.
When you get nervous, do you giggle a lot?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it gets me in trouble because I end up laughing in a situation where it's not funny, and I end up usually offending the other person, and it's bad. But yeah, I use laughter as a form of dealing, I guess.
Nervous. Have you ever seen the Mary Tyler Moore show where the clown died?
No.
No.
Classic, folks. If you know what I'm talking about, hit me with it. One of the funniest shows ever with Mary Tyler Moore and this clown died, and she's up there. And she's eulogizing this clown, right? And she just starts laughing, uncontrollably laughing, and the people are all looking around at each other. It was awesome. It was funny as hell. I guess you had to be there, but it was pretty damn funny. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah, and she got all nervous, and she started laughing and telling jokes, and it was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah,
But
I feel like
anyway,
when I get nervous, I tell jokes, and usually they're not that.
and they flop, right?
Right.
They flop, right? Yeah, it sounds about right.
I
But
usually
anyway.
get 'em, why are you laughing? That's not funny. And I'm like, I can't fucking help it because in a way it kind of is because the person's getting mad at you forever, like for whatever thing it is, or they're making fun of you. So yeah, it's funny. I just laugh at myself and I laugh at everything. Laugh it off.
Well,
Right.
I get myself in trouble too because I'm the type of guy that, like, at a party or something, will tell a joke about the bad event that just happened this morning on the news or something, and like, man, that's way too soon, dude.
Too
Oh,
soon, too
I mean,
soon.
I mean, that's the part that makes me laugh because it just happens, and I'm not making fun of any tragedies or anything because they're just jokes, whatever. But like, if you say it the day of or the day after, you're an asshole. But if you say it a year later, you're the funniest guy in the world. Oh yeah, you know, it's like,
Right, right.
what's the difference? It's less bad now.
Well, and that's the thing. A lot of people do get offended by people that, make jokes about things like that, or maybe a death in the family. You see someone in that family, instead of crying, they're just laughing and cracking jokes.
Right.
Right.
That's that person's way of dealing with tragedy. They rather laugh than sit there and cry and feel depressed or sad. And to be honest with you, I'd rather laugh than be sad.
Right.
I'm sick of being sad. I'm sick of seeing bad things. Like, I wish I could just see all positive stories.
Well, but we're not about that. We've become a negative culture. But it's one of those things, There's not much we can do about it. So, but to protect ourselves and be mindful of our surroundings at all times. And
Isn't that sad, though, that we have to do that now?
oh
It
yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter
sad.
It doesn't matter where you go now. You have to always be aware of your surroundings and make sure you know where an exit is
Well,
and watch
think
out for yourself.
think hard about this one. I'm old enough to remember when I could go from state to state by plane, by train, by car without being stopped
Right.
and without being searched. And think about going from that type of culture to the culture that we live into today. It's hard, man. It's hard because you're going, oh my God, this person's putting their hands on me. My God, I got to empty my pockets. I got to walk through a metal detector. What
I know
next?
my ass is sore when I travel.
Your ass is sore when you travel. Probes. Yeah, well, it happens, I guess. But it's one of those things. It's the culture that we live in today. But we'll rise above it. One
We
day,
shall
I really hope
overcome,
so.
man.
we will
I
rise
hope
above it.
I really hope so.
I don't even,
it's
it's the world. Like, people, oh, this happening, that's happening. Shit's happening every decade. Shit's happening every century.
It's nothing new.
Yeah,
It's nothing new.
We don't have
Yeah.
any worse problems than we did in 1945 when we were in World War II, and it's just the same crap over and over. It's
Right.
just every generation just makes it. Oh, this is so bad. No, there was rapists and murderers and everything in the 50s too, and there was maybe it's not as much terrorist attacks and shit like that, or maybe there was and we just didn't know about it.
Right.
We didn't
Right,
have
there was.
24-hour
Well, they didn't
news
call it
networks.
terrorist attacks by then. They called it something else. I don't know. It wasn't a terrorist attack. It was
But
something
you don't
else.
have, you didn't have 24-hour news networks, just pushing shit.
Yeah,
down.
most of the time you
You
had
know
to.
what, though? The news does it on purpose, though.
Of course
because
they do.
I don't even trust the news. I'm one of those people. I don't trust anything.
Yeah, well, it's hard to
I
trust.
It is. And
It's hard to trust.
They just push certain things so that other things go on the news, and so it brings more attention to something negative, and it gets other people. It's like they almost want everybody to fight.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I don't trust?
Hmm.
My friggin' toilet after Taco Tuesday.
After Taco Tuesday, huh?
I don't know. It's very sad, but my thoughts and prayers do go out to everyone infected by the shootings
In Orlando. That
Yeah,
was,
in
that's
Orlando.
horrible, and I wasn't making
Yeah.
fun of anything. That's probably, to me, is just, it's disgusting. It's not
it's
being
scary.
even. You know what this shit about is? You want to start a war, then start a war. Don't just keep doing and killing these innocent people. Declare fucking war and get your ass kicked. That's all.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very scary because it could have been any one of us in that club. It could have been someone's friend,
Right.
son, brother. Like, that just sucks. And you can't go anywhere now these days.
Right. You can't. No. And that's the way they want everybody to just live in fear. And I ain't doing
And
it.
that's what I hate. I don't want to live in fear because then we're letting the bad guys win. I'm not.
Absolutely.
I don't
No,
wanna be
don't live
afraid.
in fear. Don't live in fear, but protect yourself.
I just hope that if I do go in a fucked up way, I hope I'm doing what I love doing.
Right.
I better be listening to music with a fucking fat joint in my mouth, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, don't come in here with no guns because I'm not going to react very fast. I I'm not saying, But anyway, we better end this now because we've got a very special guest tonight. Our guest tonight is Bryan Chappell, and he's with the band Divine Sorrow. And if you all want to hear some Divine Sorrow, I'm going to play some here pretty soon. And it's also in our rotation. They got some new stuff coming out. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about upcoming shows that they're going to be doing. So that's going to be really cool. But MJ, thanks for coming in. You're always a great conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me. I always have fun with you guys, and you guys are great can't even say it.
Yeah.
You guys hold good conversations too, and I love debating with Guido. He's fun sometimes.
We talk real good here,
We talk real good.
One thing I can appreciate is that no matter what my views are or what I believe in, I never feel threatened by either of you, and I could always be myself. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Hey, we got nothing but respect for not only our guests, but for the people who work with us here at kgfrocks.com. You guys are just simply the best. Thanks, sweetheart.
You have a good night and rock on.
All right, baby. Good night.
Mwah. Bye, you guys.
So, MJ, always fun. Always fun. She's a gas. She really is a gas. But
that word was retired in 1977. Now stop saying it.
No, it's a gas, man. It's a gas. It's what's wrong, man? It's a gas.
I feel like I'm in the nursing home. Hey, man, it's gas.
It's a gas, man. Gas. Well, okay, this is a gas here.
Okay,
I'm going to play the song Judas from Divine Sorrow. And then we're going to come back with Bryan Chappell, okay? So hang in there, folks. We'll be right back. This is KGFRocks.com and the Conjugal Visit Show. Enjoy. Here on the Conjugal Visit Show, KGFRocks.com. Glad you all could join us tonight. And I've got a very special guest with us tonight, Mr. Bryan Chappell. How are you, Bryan?
How you doing, Free Ride and Guido? How you guys doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great.
I'm dandy, and I'm good. But I had a friend of mine and me, we're going to start a store up, and we're going to sell used furniture. But he doesn't like the name I picked.
Oh, he doesn't like it, huh?
It's called Slightly Touched. We got crazy deals.
I can see where that could be inappropriate. I don't think many soccer moms are going to feel good about that.
Good luck getting the mothers in there, man. That's for sure.
Let's go get a toddler bed. It's slightly touched.
It's slightly touched.
This is the Chester special over here. Anyway, welcome to the show. I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
I had to say it out loud. So, Bryan, how you been, man? How you doing?
Dude, I've been awesome. We just got off a little stretch where we played 3 shows in 10 days at some different places, and a little exhausted. Tomorrow night I'm back in the studio, and Wednesday night finishing up the vocals for the new CD. And so I've got a couple of long days ahead of me, and then we got some shows coming up. So it's been awesome. It's been a really great couple weeks, and we had some fun going to Louisville, Kentucky. Some good people out there. They're definitely crazy out there. And,
were you down there? Isn't the Ali's funeral down there?
Yeah.
In Louisville? Was it mad, man? Was it crazy down there?
Well, he died a couple days after we were there. And we were there last Saturday, so a little over a week ago. And, it's just such a small world there. It's a small microcosm, and everybody kind of knows each other, especially on the side of town we were on, which may have been the rougher side of the town. But, we had a great time, really good people. And let's just say the last thing I said on stage, and I said it as ridiculously as possible, is Jesus loves Kentucky. That's all I had to say about it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been ironic, though, if Ali died from a bee sting?
Well, I don't know, man. I tell you, that one kind of affected me. Because I remember as a kid, I watched Ali all the time with my dad.
Oh my God! And even if you thought he wasn't that great, and then you watched him, like when he beat George Foreman. George Foreman at that time was a beast.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Ali was a big guy. I don't think people realize how strong and how physical. He's a great athlete, and he had a quick brain. And unfortunately, the sad part is watching that kind of beautiful, fast mind deteriorate as he got older, with Parkinson's and everything else that kicked in on him. So, it's kind of ironic how life deals those blows. It's, as they say, the old punch drunk syndrome kicks in on a lot of those boxers. Oh, I don't think he got hit that much. I think his joke
No,
was,
I don't either.
His joke always was, I'm so fast when I go to sleep at night, I turn off the light, and I'm already in bed asleep before the light turns off.
Yeah.
He was, he was just one of those guys, man. And, again, as a little kid, I looked to him as some inspiration. That guy was, he was just on top of his game. Everybody respected him.
Well, the iconic thing
stood up.
Yeah, the iconic thing that he did too is at the time when in that time African Americans were not getting on TV, but he was constantly on TV because he was so, a great person to interview.
Outrageous.
Oh yeah.
Outrageous.
He scared the hell out of Howard Cosell.
And Howard Cosell
they were best friends.
Was a perfect Abbott and Costello together. That was just like,
it was hilarious.
That was the best thing ever. I mean, Howard, I can't even imagine. My dad's name was Howard on top of it. But, just watching him play with Howard's hairpiece and stuff all live on TV all the time. I mean, there were no boundaries there, and they loved each other. Like, they were best friends.
Yep.
So it's amazing.
And he used to say, this beautiful face, nobody's going to touch this beautiful face. He was, he says, look at this face. Would you want to hit this face? I'm so beautiful, and I'm going, oh my God. I seen it all when I was growing up. And, I was actually sitting on the couch with my dad and my brothers, back in 1962, 63.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And when he beat Sonny Liston. And my dad went nuts because, of course, he won $100 on the fight. So, and that's why we were listening to the fight to begin with, because he had $100 on
Shit, 63. That was like a damn week's salary.
Sonny Liston.
Oh yeah.
Sonny Liston was his name, and he beat him, and he beat him bad, and they threw in the towel in the I guess it was the 6th round, and he just beat the hell out of him. So I remember that.
See, I'm a little younger than you, so I wasn't around for that. But my fighter that I grew up with, I don't know if you say unfortunately whatever, is Mike Tyson, but he was amazing.
Mike Tyson was great, but that's what happens when you let Don King run your life. That's a bad problem.
Right.
He
Absolutely.
had the wrong management.
But
when you have Customado as your trainer, you got the world by the balls right there.
Sure.
And then you got a guy step in there and they exploited that guy. They exploited his
what he represented,
naivete to everything.
Right.
He wasn't the brightest guy, and he was a bull. He was just a bull. You could take on anything. But, in boxing, if you're going to stay on top of that game, it requires brains, it requires discipline, it requires having the right handlers in your box with you to make sure that you don't do the wrong things. And,
I agree
the guy ends up being broke,
handlers in the box is really important. But my favorite boxer... My favorite boxer of all time, and maybe because I was in my 20s when he was at his peak, and he wasn't that smart of a guy as Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
But he could hit,
Cool ear,
I thought he's my champion from my time frame. And just don't bite his ear, because then he gets mad. I would have fucking beat the shit out of him if he bit my ear like that, man. I mean, how could you do that to somebody?
Yeah. Well, it's crazy, and that's what I'm saying. He really was under a lot of stress. I mean, his own wife accused him of rape. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there that was not good. But but you can also take a look at the Spinks brothers that were from St. Louis. I mean, I personally went to go pick up some furniture one time, and I'm not going to say which Spinks brother, but this guy who was famous and a champion was loading my furniture into the back of my pickup truck for me to take it home. That was his job. He was making $7 an hour in a warehouse. So, I mean, it kind of shows you, the progression of life. I mean, if you aren't intelligent about what you're going to do with yourself, I mean, life can take you to the top of the mountain, and it's important once you get to the top of that mountain to be very humble and to be grounded. Because if you're not, and you make a lot of mistakes, life will certainly bitch slap you right back down to the earth and show you what it means. So,
sure.
That's kind of how it works.
Not only that, you give these young athletes all this money, like even somebody in football, Ryan Leaf, or he sucked, whatever, but he still made a lot of money and he's broke, and because they went from having no money to millions of dollars, and then they just figure we're going to keep getting this.
Yeah, and don't forget Uncle Sam's going to put his ugly little finger in the middle of that. So that's usually where most of them fall down, is when Uncle Sam decides he wants his more than fair, piece of that pie. So,
I know.
that's how a
Poor
lot of things
Willie
work,
Nelson.
unfortunately.
So let's with that in mind, and knowing that these guys do this stuff because they don't stay in it very long if it's not a passion to them. And Ali was an
Or if
example
they suck.
of passion. Foreman was he fought until he was 49. This guy, he didn't quit. He didn't quit. He was this big lumbering. I mean, you hit him and he didn't move. He was like,
Because his waistline didn't quit either. It just kept growing every year.
he was huge, man. So, but
Don't
anyway,
lie to me. You got a George Foreman grill laying around somewhere.
yeah.
Oh, I got three.
I got the industrial size where I can make like 12 burgers on that thing.
You want to hear a cool story about the George Foreman grill? This is probably the stupidest mistake in endorsement history. It was offered to Hulk Hogan first, the grill. He said, "No, I'm going to pick this other project called the Pasta Mania. It made pasta for you." And then George Foreman took George Foreman grill, and now several houses later,
Yeah. And all of his kids are named George. All of his kids are
all
named
the
George.
kids are George. It's like 7 of them or something.
Talk about no imagination whatsoever. I mean, even
Or
Ezekiel.
just talk about kick-ass. That is awesome. If you think about it.
Kick-ass. I'm George Foreman. Nobody's better than me, so
Like,
I'm going to
I am
name my
George Foreman. Here's George the 7th. We're just going to do what we want to do here. We're cool with it.
Yeah, medium George, little George, big George, whatever. But speaking of
I
passion,
want to name our kid awesome, but my wife no.
speaking of passion, music.
Yeah.
Obviously a passion of yours. When and where were you when you realized that music was what you wanted to do, man?
I was 13 years old, and I was living in Baldwin off of Towerwood. And at the time, we had a station called KWK. It was at 106.5, and it was really, Casey was just still a little too heavy into I didn't want to hear Smoke on the Water again. I'd had enough of that. And we got to a particular spot there, and they started to play, Ozzy's first albums came out,
Right.
Blizzard of Oz. And I still remember just one night I was 13, and I heard Randy Rhoads pull the Flying High Again. I heard the solo, and I was just like, you know what? That released some kind of inner part of my soul that I just saw what was now possible with music, and it wasn't the same old bar chords pushing through right turns and hooky stuff so dumbed down that everyone can remember every word. And I just saw how free that little tiny man's spirit was when he put a guitar on that was the size of him. And I asked my father.
Oh, he became the guitar.
Well, the thing was crazy is I still remember this day. We weren't dirt poor, but we weren't rich by any means. We certainly were. My dad was working a lot of hours to keep us fed and keep a nice room, and a roof over our head. And I asked my dad if I could get a guitar, and he got in a huge fight with my mom, and sure enough, my dad brought home a brand new Fender Strat, an American one, an amp. And I tell you what, you could my friends could attest. I used to put that strap on that guitar, put it around my neck. I would walk around the neighborhood. And one of the first songs I learned how to play was For Those About to Rock, like the opening, such the simplest riffs, And, And I just remember that it took me from being the odd kid into this world where I was in control of all the things around me, and I already had people that were paying attention and being encouraging and were supporting me to follow it, because I always had written music as a kid. Like, I'd play around on pianos, but I didn't like playing other people's music. I wanted to play my own stuff. And when they put that guitar in my hand, it was over. It was done.
Right. Awesome. And so what was your old man into? What kind of music was your old man into?
You're going to laugh. My dad was into, like, John Denver. He was into, like, B.J. Thomas. He used to listen to disco. He was this incredible dancer. He
K-E-Z-K.
Imperial danced. He was an Imperial dancer, and he loved Motown. And I'll tell you what, I heard so much Motown in my youth that I loved it. I mean, I loved it. He used to jam Donna Summer records and Bee Gees. And to this day, if a Bee Gees song comes on the radio, my head's bobbing
the words,
all over
right?
the place.
You know
I know
the words.
every last one of them. And you know what? I'm not going to admit it.
Yeah.
Well, I was the same way. My dad. my dad was a radio DJ, and he would switch from genre to genre with station to station, and bring home, 1 month disco records, next month rock records, and it was like, what the hell? And I never knew there was labels for music until I got to high school. I mean, I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
It's
hard to know that stuff. I'll tell you what's kind of neat is I listen to all kinds of music, and I particularly am fond of classical music, especially Russian composers, because if you listen to our music more and more, you'll see that I write in a lot of threes, which is really a waltz. People don't realize when they're rocking out to some Divine Sorrow that's tearing the face off and some things, they're in a waltz. They're in a musical complexion that they can't escape from. And 4/4 music, which most bands write in, and I don't hold it against people, there's a place to land on the 4. There's always a place to rest. And I try to write songs where people can't disconnect, where they have to keep moving with me, and it's a very easy motion. So if you're going to put deeper lyrics and you're going to put things of substance, as our producer Jason McIntyre says, high speak, you have to be able to keep people involved in what they're listening to. So it's it's as much a mental thing as it is just a joy. And there's some things in my past that with what I'm made of, I'm autistic and I'm Asperger's. I'm an unusual version of it in that I am personable and that I can carry on conversations with other people. My interaction with people is more of a defense mechanism. So it's kind of a way that I keep people from knowing if I have a brain or not. And then music is just this great escape place for me. And, you talk about passion. I'm 48 and a half years old. So, I've just started this band in the last 4 years. So I took a 15-year hiatus from this when I was younger until I was right about 44 when Divine Sorrow started with one of my buddies. And I just went in and wrote this first album, Tales of Ascension, so quick, the one that Judas is on, in just a matter of a few weeks. And within 4 months, we had an album recorded, and it was already getting played on Casey. So, a lot of things happen very quickly. And, you just don't know.
And the passion's what got you there. And when you think about that, I mean, you're opening for bands like Kansas, Boston, hell, April Wine. But the one that really picked me up was Sebastian Bach. How was that show, man?
The show was awesome. And I'm allowed to say what I want here, right?
Yeah.
That guy was the biggest jackass I've ever seen.
Yes, he is. He really is.
Right? And I'm going to tell you, his manager and I got into it before the show. Some of our gear was detuned when it was time for us to hit the stage. We handled it like pros. We got there and played. But, I mean, the thing I've learned, and we've opened for just dozens and dozens of big bands, Filter, Helmet, you name it, we've opened for them. There are a lot of really gracious national acts that have made it, and their heads are on, kind of what we talked about a few minutes ago. And I said, you got to stay humble and you got to keep your feet on the ground. You got to remember that
you're from the 80s.
You are nothing without the people that are standing in front of that stage. Those are those are the people that support you. Those are the people that care about you. There's no reason for you to be a musician or in a band without those people in front of you. If not, you're just in your mom and dad's basement making a bunch of racket. So, you have to connect with those people and you got to appreciate them. And this guy clearly doesn't appreciate anybody. And I mean, it was the one thing I take from it, I always try to find something positive, is that, you have an experience like that, and it prepares you for other experiences like that, and you learn how to be much more gracious yourself about it. And I just have a rule: we get up, play your set, give them everything you got, and then walk off that stage, because that's all you're really there to do. You're there to open for that person. And then I've had great experiences. Like I said, I've had so many great experiences with national acts also, All-American Rejects. The one that really stands out is we got to open for Ace Frehley, the September before. And, it's like we've opened for a lot of famous people, and that's really cool. But then there's rock stars, and Ace Frehley's a legitimate rock star, man. I mean, he's just got that whole aura. He's got everything. He's Ace Frehley, for God's sake,
Right.
And we were so excited to get to open for him, and his whole staff was so gracious, just so good. And we got the privilege of being his only opener by request of him. And we got to be the sole opener. And And what was cool about that is, and just a related story, my father walked in on me in the bathroom one time as a kid. This isn't going to get weird, but I was jamming out to Kiss on a little radio, like a little tape player thing. And I was jamming air guitar in front of the mirror. My dad comes in, he goes, "What in the are you doing in here?" And I said, "I'm going to jam with Ace Frehley someday, and I'm going to invite you." So, the funny, my dad just kind of looked at me. He goes, "Well, when that happens, buddy, I promise you I'll be there." Closes the door. Nothing's ever said, but my father dies 6 months. My dad dies 10 months before I play with Ace Frehley on stage.
Oh, no way.
Passes away in his sleep. Yeah, he was there, though. I'm telling you right now.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, I'm sure he was, man.
It was really an incredible show. I got to play. When you open for bands, usually you get 30, maybe you get 40 minutes. We got an hour, and then probably an extra 5 minutes to play one more song. And again, I can't say enough about his staff and how gracious they were, and how great they were. Richie Kotzon's in there, the bass player from the Colts in his band. This guy's just surrounded himself with these amazing musicians, and they're all humble. They're all decent. They all come up and talk to you. And we've had some other little nightmares. We just played with the guys from Mudvayne a couple weeks ago, and their lead singer, I guess, he's afraid to sound bad in front of people, so they had a 2-hour private warm-up. And all the bands that were supposed to load in at 5 sat outside in a thunderstorm until 7 o'clock before we could load in. So, you just don't know what you're going to run into. You know what I'm saying? But you just learn mostly that, A, it's a privilege to get to do this stuff. And at 48 years old, I'm just glad I wake up every morning.
Yeah, there you go.
Like I made
there you go.
Right on.
There you go.
Well, you're not as old as Freeride, but
No,
but
not as
you
old
just
as Freeride, no.
you just embraced my point that I made at Freeride many months ago. I told him out of every guest that we interview, 90% of them will say Kiss is one of their influences.
Oh, sure, absolutely, man. That is. As a kid, you just gotta love it. I remember Gene Simmons and the Blood and the Fire. I'm just like, oh man, this is fourth grade.
It is right now. I'm keeping score, gentlemen. I am right now, since this conversation right now is included in this. He is up 9-1.
Wow.
9 guests were influenced by Kiss to 1 that was never influenced by Kiss.
Yeah. And I mean, it's weird because the kind of music they wrote, like now, is nothing in my influence. If I were to go on my influences now, I'm heavily influenced by Maynard, like Tool, Perfect Circle. But my big band, and I've got to meet them so many times now, is King's X. And
cool.
I just saw those 3 dudes just come out of nowhere. And, if you ask even all the big bands that have made it, it's like, well, tell me who your favorite band is. King's X comes up in about 90% of those conversations because they're the biggest band that never made it all the way. And
absolutely,
if you listen, they're just so spiritually enlightening, and their musicianship is just off the scale. And Doug Pinnick's got a voice like a Southern Baptist gospel church singer, and he just belts it out at you with everything he's got. And that's where I kind of learned my singing style, is just the freedom that guy had. I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna blast it out from the most guttural place in my body and just put it in front of people and give them nowhere to go. And boy, he was a huge influence. And then Tool, you get into like the darker and higher speak. There's got to be something. Music should be about something. I'm so sick of this bubblegum bullshit, this Bieberism and all this other crap, and these repeatable choruses, blah 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 blah. It should be 3 minutes. It should. It should be so stupid that everyone can remember every word. I just don't buy it. That's not worth my time in life. So I really made it a point.
No,
write
songs
what I wanna
today
write.
are. That's what you should do. And songs today are kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's first movie, the same 5 words over and over. And it is, and it's repetitive. But you know what? The cool part what you're saying about. It's true. Music should move you to at least do something. It reminds you of something, and it does. Like, my dad passed away, and his biggest influence and the person he listened to all the time was Eric Clapton. And I don't Eric Clapton's on my dad, I'm going to cry. No, I remember something, a moment like that. Oh, we were listening to Eric Clapton when we went here. Oh, I remember this at the Eric Clapton concert with my dad. So it's cool for me. It doesn't make you be sad or whatever, but music should do something for you. It shouldn't just be
music should elevate you. It should elevate you to another realm. It should make you feel like you were able to leave this earth for just a few minutes, just a few small minutes of divinity, you are in a better place, and you learn something from it, and you can carry it around with you and use it, apply it somewhere in your life. And that's drawing those parallels between the lyrics and life and experience. Those are things that take time. So I mean, I'm really proud of what this band does right now, because I'm in my 40s, so I've lived some life now, so now I have a sphere of reference that is much larger than when I was in my 20s. No offense to being in your 20s. I had a great time playing in bands when I was in my 20s, but it did not have the depth, that I have at this point in my life. And that's not something that you can just fake. You have to experience life on a big level. And then if you're an intelligent person, you take and gather all those lessons, and it makes you into a bigger, better person as you go.
Wow, man. Fuck, that was killer, man. Thanks, dude. that was killer, man. So I'm listening.
No,
yeah, that was awesome.
I want to go write music now.
I want to go write that down, man. I want to write that down. I'm gonna post it on Facebook. Everybody will love it.
Well, you're probably recorded, so I mean,
it is recorded. So yeah, you can hear that. You can hear that over and over and over in your head. That was awesome. Now the songs that we've got in our rotation, I've been listening to them, man. What's the story behind this album, Tales of Dissension?
Tales of Dissension is really a conglomeration of my childhood. And what I did is I set, again, like a lot of 3/4 music against lessons. And when I tried to make a correlation to people with things they're going to remember, and a lot of things that people remember from their childhood are biblical, like Bible school. They remember those stories. They remember things. If you look at the album itself, there's a song called Eden, and there's a song called Mary, and there's different things there. And I write about the parallels to those stories in life, and like what that would actually be like today. Like if we were here today, what is that? And of course, there's the one song called Everything that I wrote about my very best friend and my first drummer, and the guy that jammed in bands with me until I was 30 years old. Chad Caston, who died on his 36th birthday from drug and alcohol abuse his whole life. And his wife was busy preparing to have the birth of their second child. She was 8.5 months pregnant at that time. And this wasn't a poor drug addict. This was a really, really intelligent guy who grew up in West County out here in St. Louis in the burbs, lived in a beautiful home, had a beautiful wife, had a beautiful son already. And it just shows you how frail humans are. So I wrote the song Everything, basically as I was lambasting him as a human being. I was screaming at him about his selfishness and how he kind of didn't think about everything else that he had left behind. And it's kind of a pretty song. Everybody thinks it's a pretty song until they listen and they realize that I am just lashing him verbally through the whole song. And I love him, but he left us way too early, and that's a shame. You got a couple little guys that are growing up without their dad, and that's another part of our sad world now. So that particular song meant a lot, and that song took off and got national airplay. So
that's cool.
I certainly didn't expect it, and when I started Divine Sorrow and Tales of Dissension, I thought maybe we're going to go play a couple little clubs once or twice a year. Maybe 20 people show up and go, "Hey, great job, you old guys."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I was playing in front of 70,000 people at Taste of St. Louis when we won a big charter Taste of St. Louis, like the charter center stage contest for the whole United States. We just got so many votes, so many things happened, and it was odd because it just all happened on its own. It wasn't like we had connections anywhere or anything. Just something happened and it took off, and I just decided, screw it. I'm going to write what I want. I don't care if I'm not writing it to make other people like it. I'm going to write what I really think about, what I feel about, and then let's just let it fall. And I tell you what, 3 months after we started, it's like you put it over on a bookcase somewhere, and you just wait to see what's going to happen. It's like Frankenstein's monster. And all of a sudden I looked over there one day, and that little sucker was walking around, and it had its own life. And it's just kind of hard to explain how things happen in life. But if you do them for the right reasons, I really believe sometimes that good things can happen.
Oh, they could. And it's true. So now you're saying Randy Rhoads probably was your first major influence, right?
As far as guitar, yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, that's kind of cool because like my really first major influence, besides was Ace Frehley, but a guy that I went to Steve Vai, but the guy that really did it for me was Zakk Wylde. Man, when I first heard Zakk Wylde play, I was like, that's badass, you know. And
he's a natural, and he loves to play guitar, and that's the thing. You can tell when somebody loves to play the guitar. You know, they love their instrument. They don't care if you like what they're playing. They just love playing that guitar. It's like they're making love to it every time they put it in their hands. Some being rougher than others, by the way. Him being one of the rougher. So,
well, he's like a fucking big bicep, verge of getting his liver gone.
Oh, he's a Viking. Madman. He's a Viking.
Oh, he is.
When he dies, we're going to put him on a canoe and like float him out on a lake and set him on fire. He's going to be incendiary. It's going to be like some movie. He would probably
love that. Yeah. You ever hear his talk show? He had a talk show on called Wild on Sports. And it was a sports talk show. It was on Sirius or one of them places. And I listened to it once or twice, and I'm like, he really knows what he's talking about, you know. And I'm like, how's a guitar god going to know about sports? But he really does. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I think people think when you're in a band or a musician, like that you just solely live around that harbor, like every day.
Right.
I mean, every one of us out here, and like my friends or people I don't know, they'll be like, well, what are you doing tonight? It's like, well, I'm going to go open for Ace Frehley tonight. And they're like, what?
Right.
What? And then the next day they're just like, what are you doing tomorrow? It's like, well, I'm going to take my kids to the zoo.
Yeah.
It's just,
ain't it cool, man? Ain't it cool?
It is. And to me, it's not a big deal because I'm so used to this. It's just like anybody. It's like, I'm sure a brain surgeon, when they operate on a brain, the friends go, hey, what are you doing? It's like, well, I'm going to cut a guy's head open and take out some bad stuff, and I'm going to put it back in without him losing feeling in his hand. And to him, it's like nonchalant. It's just what he does every day. And the next day, he's taking his kid to the zoo. So,
or the pilot of your plane, the pilot of your plane, he gets up in the morning, puts his shoes on, goes to the airport, gets on the plane, he flies you to where you're going to go. I mean, it's just like a job, Yeah.
I'm a DJ for real. That's my real job. So, like, when I used to work in this hospital and I was a DJ then too, they'd be like, you make the announcement. Why? Because you're a DJ. I'm like, all right. I'd be like, Dr. Smith to the ER, please.
Dr. Smith.
Yeah, and
like
they would all be like,
and coming up soon on stage number 2, Brandy will be entertaining you guys. It's like...
All med students, please report to the auditorium. To the auditorium, please. We're going to transplant a brain. Okay, here we go.
Well, people do think that just because my cousin's girlfriend's a stripper, that doesn't mean when she comes to the family party I'm going to ask her to take her clothes off. I mean, I already did that once, but I'm not going to do it again.
You did ask at least, right?
Yeah. Well, you got that, man, and
private shows at the family reunion, though. You got to throw fives. You can't throw singles.
No, we're Italian. We throw olives.
Oh
How does that work?
Yeah, I have some linguine.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just people. I think a lot of people, they think like I'm deeply. My songs are kind of about pretty dark natured things, but I'm not sitting around in a dark thunderstorm every day, looking for more gloom to think about. I mean, I have a normal life and it's a lot of fun and but I totally get what you're kind of saying with the connection about people think about other things. Like I thought about Randy Rhoads, but then from what I understand, they used to play and joke around all day because they were bored during the day. I mean, ultimately it kind of led to his death, but there's just I think, it kind of brings up kind of this enamoration thing. When you're in a band too, you have people, they look at you differently. And when you're on that stage and you come off the stage, they'll come up and they'll treat you differently. Like there's this space, you know what I mean? And they don't know what to say sometimes they don't know what to do. And, part of your job, if you're in a band, is to try to make those people feel comfortable, give them a hug and just say, hey man, thanks for coming out here and, being here. And it goes a long way, and just, hey, I'm just like you, I'm a big teddy bear. I'm just here to have fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. You just kind of move on from there, just try to keep it human. And remember, again, lesson number 1, be humble. If you're not humble, you don't have a shot at anything.
Right.
I wanted to be in a band just to get groupies. But we really sucked. So it's just my mom. It was just my mom there.
Your mom was out there
Well,
clapping.
that would be an awkward groupie, wouldn't it?
That's my baby. That's my baby. Yeah.
Throw olives at you.
Yeah,
Throwing olives
making
at you.
ravioli.
So,
Yeah, when I was younger, there were groupies. I mean, that was always kind of the crazy days. But, a lot of musicians, as you get older, you grow, you become more mature, you become more intense. And, when you're young, it's fun. And I've never been much of a drinker or a partier or anything like that. So, I went to this kind of funny story. We did an early Father's Day. My wife took me and my father-in-law to the Anheuser-Busch Master Brewers tour today down at the brewery. And I don't drink. And today I had a few samples, and I was as giggly as a teenage girl at a wine festival. So, that was this morning I had to go eat an entire rack of ribs just to counteract it so I could make any sense at all with you guys today.
That was my Saturday morning for like 20 years, man. Because I was a nightclub DJ. And, when in Rome, and I wasn't in Rome, but I still drank like I was. It was like crazy because you got free drinks. I'm like, how many? They're like, as many as you want. Oh, fuck. Okay.
The drunker you get, the drunker you get, the better you sound, man. That's for sure. You get a little braver.
And when you're going to be a pro band, I mean, like we have rules in our band, like only a couple of guys in the band like to drink, and they don't drink much. But we don't drink before our show. We don't drink during our show. And we really keep it down like the couple guys that do, that maybe having one or two beers after the show. It's just something that's for the public viewing, it's important to guard, what you're going to be and being professional. I think that's where a lot of bands make a lot of mistakes is they think it's about having the best time ever, which you can have a good time. But, man, you just can never, ever forget the most important thing is being pro and putting on the absolute best show you can put on for people. They're counting on you. That's their release. And, again, that comes back to being there for the people that are in front of you.
Sure.
Absolutely. And, you know what else is different about the industry these days is, back in the 80s when Metallica was getting drunk and just whatever and being jackasses, there was no social media. There was no YouTube.
There was no way for you to look like an asshole in 3 minutes. That's kind of the thing. So you got to be careful. You got to watch what you say now because it can get misconstrued very, very quickly.
But not on this show. We don't have enough listeners for you to worry about that. I don't know. Listen. It is what it is.
Fat Axl Rose. I've been telling Fat Axl Rose to call in every week, but he still hasn't.
He won't do that.
I'll take him to.
Oh, I heard.
No, I'll take him to a buffet.
Guy.
We said we would supply a buffet. We'd have a buffet sent up to his room. And
just get a rib truck. Lay one rib every 100 yards all the way to wherever you guys are doing your show.
Well, they're saying Brian's going to come back. So they said he had surgery.
You know what? I saw that today. I didn't hear that he's going to.
I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to swear to it because I saw it on Facebook. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
What didn't make sense about that whole thing to me is, the guy's been doing these high sound pressure levels forever. And believe me, I know I'm half deaf. I've been dealing with high sound pressure levels my whole life. Is that with all the technology with in-ears and different stuff, and even like with my hobby of firearms and stuff, there are actual cans and different things you can put on your head that block out the highest points of noise and still allow sound in. The technology is there. So I just kind of figured that's what it was going to take is someone was going to be an AC/DC fan that's also some kind of wicked little, crazy scientist and would come up with a way to, create a two-way earpiece that could really take out a lot of the outer sound and isolate his eardrum. So just a smaller volume could actually enter his ears and he'd be okay. So I think that's exactly what happened actually.
Oh, that's cool. I'm sorry, but there's many AC/DC fans who are like Bon Scott or whatever. But I'm in my early 40s. I'm 42. For me, I don't know AC/DC with Bon Scott. Bryan Johnson to me is AC/DC, and I like Bryan Johnson more than I like Angus Young because just when you said you learned for those about to rock, you could have joined an AC/DC. You could have joined an AC/DC cover band by that point because you knew one song. So I think Brian Johnson is not. He's AC/DC too, and I think he needs to be back in there.
Well, he's actually more of AC. He's been around for more albums. I mean, the guy's been there writing lyrics and been around longer. And it's, and I honestly, from the time I was young, I listened to AC/DC, but to me, their voices are so much alike that it's...
Yeah, they are similar.
Most people can't really tell the difference one another. And also, if you're going to listen to AC/DC, just throw all the crap out that everybody plays all the time. Let's Get It Up is maybe the best AC/DC song ever. Like, that's the one that took me the longest to learn as a kid. But, like, there's no better AC/DC song than Let's Get It Up. And the whole premise behind it is really screwed up anyway. So, you're singing about getting a hard-on for something. It's like, that's a pretty good ride. When
that's a pretty good ride. No
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
and you're getting away with it. You can sing it in front of your mom, and she doesn't know what you're saying.
There is, but like my favorite AC/DC album is Flick of the Switch, and I don't know how many people would say that is their favorite AC/DC album.
Yeah, but I think Thunderstruck is my favorite AC/DC song, and I
Razor's Edge.
But you see here, this is kind of the cool thing though. It's like bands that try to be something that they're not. They always try to be what they think is like the current trend or what this and that is. Mm-hmm. There's something for everyone out there, and not everyone's going to like your band, and not everyone's going to hate your band.
Well, the one thing
you're going to have people that care about you, and that's it. And just everyone's got different tastes, man, and that's cool. There's room out here. There's enough room out here for original music for people to be who they are without following a trend.
Right, and well, the thing about AC/DC that I like, okay, and the one side of it is that they've kept true to their sound. They didn't change with the times. They didn't change with those times, man.
I don't know if they can.
Well, I don't know if they can either, but you know what? They could have. The Stones did it.
Producers that will push you that way.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're incapable of it, but I don't think they can because then they would stop. They're still selling records when nobody sells records,
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we still sell a lot of CDs, and that's not heard of in these days. You know what I mean? We sell them on iTunes and Amazon and at CD Baby, and it shows. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a secret to being in a band, and this is a hard lesson for most bands. When you're in original music, you're going to come to the table, and there's going to be a couple guys in the band, and everybody's kind of trying to put some ideas together for the first song or two. What's going to happen is one person's songwriting is going to end up rising above. And if a band is smart, they figure out which thing is going to take them the furthest and that they can feel good with. And that person ends up writing the majority of everything all the time. And in the industry, what you really want to capture is kind of like Alice in Chains is a great example. You have to have an identifiable sound. An identifiable sound is your signature. You can write the cool songs that are all over the place, but you have to have some things in every single song that have a similarity that chimes on the inner side of someone's brain that goes, that's Divine Sorrow. That's AC/DC. That's Alice in Chains.
Yeah, that makes it click.
That connects it. It gives them something to grab onto. And even on our third CD that's coming out, The Far Beneath, all of those key signatures and a lot of things from Tales of Dissension into our second one, which was Seven Deadly, if you listen to those through, you're going to hear things that are correlated that come from the other album, like you're going to hear those identifiable signatures. And that's how you build your fan base, and you learn to embrace your sound instead of always chasing your tail, like a dog that's lost. Right. You embrace what you are. And once you embrace what you are, you can write better songs, and you can write more powerful songs, and you can definitely put it in front of your people and mean it. And, that's something that takes a lot of bands a long time if they learn it at all. And, that's important. That's part of being a seasoned songwriter is learning how to do those things.
Wow. Hey, listen, we've certainly learned a lot tonight, and learned a lot about you, man. Thanks for opening up with us tonight, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, dude, I love doing it. I love talking on stuff. And, I mean, it's kind of cool. You guys got your show, man. I like the idea of kind of these shows that actually are going to have, relative and original music with more independent artists, kind of like what we are. Right. I mean, the music world has shrunk down to a minuscule being. There's nothing left of it. And it's people don't realize how hard it is to be in a band and still making original music. It costs $30,000 to make a CD, when you do it the right way. And you have to make enough money as a band to do that, selling T-shirts, all the other stuff you got to do. But
You got to promote it, right? I mean, you got to promote it, and even if it's a small operation like T-shirts at your shows and CDs, and of course on on everything else, you just never know, and all of a sudden you're saying, "Wow, I'm out of CDs."
Well, yeah, I mean, we've done. I mean, that first Tales of Dissension, I don't even know what reorder we are on. A couple thousand of them at a time. I would venture to say we've sold almost 10,000 of them. Oh. And, that's these days and age. I mean, there's guys that put out new CDs now that are famous that don't sell 1,000 CDs because people are so busy stealing it, So, they just steal it right off the radio and, or off their websites, make the MP3s where they just take them. Right. So, I mean, it's just, look, it's a privilege to get to be in a band anyway when you're this age. And secondarily, the people even care about you. And then, this business isn't for big, gigantic pussies. That's for sure. You have to get kicked in the face a lot, and you hear the word no a lot, and you just say, yeah, well, I'm just going to show you. And you just do it. So, that's what I kind of say. In St. Louis, it's a very tight market anyway. We have so many cover and tribute bands, and, original music is just so hard. People spend $7 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks, but man, if it's $5 to get into an original show with some bands that have worked their asses off, they just don't. It's like, oh my God, $5 to listen to a band? Are you kidding me? It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah, it is. Well, listen, why don't we do this, man? We'll take a little short break here. I'm going to play from your first album, I guess, Below. Is that right? Off the first album?
Below's on the second one. Below is on Seven Deadly. That's a song
Seven
about
Deadly.
love.
That's right. It sure is. So we're going to go ahead and play that one, and we're going to be right back with our very special guest, man. This has been a great show, man. Hey, tell your friends about it. Tell everybody out there listening. Tell your friends, man. This is a great show. Okay, we'll be right back. This is KGFRocks.com and the Conjugal Visit. Oh, and that is Below. Divine Sorrow. Kick-ass song, dude. I kind of like that. Yeah, yeah, that's a good song. What'd you think,
It's one of the Seven Deadly.
Very good song.
Very good song. Kick-ass song. Yeah.
It's definitely gonna...
Dude, I gotta have more of your stuff. Have your guy talk to my guy, and we'll get all your stuff. And
we'll get our guys together. They'll do that thing.
Yeah, they'll do that thing, and we'll go ahead and get all of Divine Sorrow in rotation.
Sure, man.
And next
I'll get
fall,
it out there for you.
And next fall, maybe we can throw you, have an opening and play your stuff. Okay, and maybe
that'd be great, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So, who are the guys in the band?
Well, let me tell you how it kind of went. So originally we started out, and my buddy from high school, his name's Matt DePew, is the one that actually helped pull me out of retirement. He said, "Come on, dude, let's be a band." And I said, "Oh, all right, we'll see what's going on." And so Matt DePew was the original lead guitar player in Divine Sorrow. And then after a while, he had some other stuff come up that he had to take care of. So we had to replace him with somebody else, and it was all very amicable. And in fact, he's playing with us at our show coming up later this month. But then on drums back there is Lee Skiles. He was with Anacrusis and some of the other bands here in town that were kind of big back in the day. And he was like just a metal drummer, just, totally not the kind of style we are at all, but a really great guy, really bright guy. And Mike Sikorsky is our rhythm, and he still plays a lot of our leads. And I didn't know him at all, but he's kind of your woodshedder, practices 2 or 3 hours a night at home, even on our own stuff. It's hard to remember when you got 3 hours of material to remember every little nuance, and Mike works harder than anybody. And then the guitar player that we replaced Matt with is Paul Shafrin. And he was in town here with a couple other bands that were more just like jam bands, kind of playing like acoustic stuff and that, but he's like super talented natural player. And he heard our music one night late on Casey on a ride home from a trip out of town. And funny thing is he didn't know it was me or us. And he made a big deal trying to figure out who we were and everything else. And then he ended up being our guitar player. So it ended up being kind of a cool story with him.
That's awesome.
Excellent. So, and what kind of dates you got coming up?
Well, here's what we got going. I'm going to throw out the couple that are our bigger shows that we're planning on. on June 25th, we have a show at Pops over in Sauget, Illinois. Big club, and it tends to have a lot of people, where it's called Chunks of Meat Reunion. Lee Skiles used to be a big promoter here in St. Louis and sound guy. And so his Chunks of Meat company, he brought it out of retirement for us to have this kind of reunion show. But what we've managed to do is take some of the players from back in the Chunks of Meat days, what they're doing now. And so we've got first band up is Seventh of Never, and that is Danny Johnson and Richie Timbergen from Killer Instinct, the Iron Maiden tribute band. Some really badass musicians. And I knew them. We actually jammed together when I was younger. And then we have Divide the Empire. Those are my buddies Randy Shanks and Joe Burrow. They play probably 15 shows a month in St. Louis. They are just and even out of town, they are just a great rock and roll band. And then we have Conquer As They Come, which is kind of one of the newer bands that's really taken off. Really great band. They're really a modern touch on kind of the math metal, that's going on. Okay. And then our good friend Dewey Crane, he used to be in, Kill the Day and some of the other bands. Dewey's a pretty well-known name around here. He has a new band called Ascension. And they're going to debut that show with us, and then we're headlining that thing last. So we literally picked, the strongest lineup we could possibly put together for a show where the musicianship and everything's up, top notch. All the guitar players have good sounds. It's not like when you go to some local shows where, the guitars sound like razor blades and, everything's just not right. We've got some serious musicians lined up for an awesome show there that night. So that's really going to be a treat. We got tickets out here for as little as $3 to get people in the door. And that's going to be a killer show. And then the other one I want to promote is July 23rd. We're playing at All-Star in Kansas City. And we are actually putting together kind of a bike ride, motorcycle ride, because a couple of us in the band ride bikes. And we have a big group of people that are, in the bike community. And we're talking about having a big road trip with us, riding bikes from St. Louis to Kansas City for that show, staying at the same hotel, having some fun and taking in the show and some barbecue and all that kind of stuff. So those are the two I want to push.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And now I understand you're involved with some, I don't like calling it charity work. So how about some public works that you've been working on?
Well, I'll tell you, the last couple of years, I was lucky, and I became president of Warrior Fest STL, and we work with a group called Heroes Care, and what they do is they help support families who have actively deployed service members. So a lot of times those guys are over across the ocean and doing our good work, and they still have house payments and they don't get paid very much. So when people are complaining about not getting $15 to flip hamburgers, there's some guys taking bullets towards their head for less than that an hour. And they're trying to keep their families fed while they're thousands of miles away. So it's a very, very good organization, Heroes Care, and I'd love to give them plugs. They're right here in St. Louis, and they really work tightly here with the Scott Air Force Base community in that, and they do a lot of good work. And 95% or more of that money goes completely to the families. They basically have a warehouse that they have to pay rent on when we receive goods or things to distribute to those families. So it's not like the Wounded Warrior stuff where there's been all the controversy in that. This is a very legitimate organization that we vetted very carefully. So we do a bunch of events with them every year, including the big Warrior Fest event, which we're still planning the date for that later this year. Which leads me to the next thing that we'd like to work with. My friend Trent Seibel and I started an organization called JustAsk.help. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in our country every day, 22 military veterans commit suicide on average. 22 of them a day. That's 22 crazy. Of our soldiers that fought for us take their own life because they don't have the health care, they don't have the support they need here, and they don't have friends that know how to identify the trauma they went through. So you can go to justask.help, and there's a bunch of resources there that can actually even help you learn more about if you have a friend that came back from Iraq or that, and he's acting a little funny. There's things on that site that can teach you how to look for signs, for indicators, so you can step in. I mean, a lot of times people take their own life because nobody says anything. Just imagine you
Yeah.
have all these people who love you, but no one actually
Yeah.
says, "Hey, man, what's wrong? What can I do for you?"
Sure.
So that again is justask.help, and Warrior Fest is warriorfeststl.com. You can get to that also. And again, just going on to one more thing that's a big thing, and I've written, as Paul, my guitar player, says, I have more songs about dead people than a Chinese phone book. Basically, Paul's funny. He's like Rodney Dangerfield, except a lot less money involved. But something hits. I have a new song called Esmeralda, and it's about a 19-year-old girl that I tried to help in the rehab a couple times, and she died tragically from a heroin overdose, and it affected me deeply. And I've always helped. I've always posted on my Facebook page that if people are depressed or if they're drinking or they're drugs or whatever, my phone number is actually on my Facebook page. So I can't tell you how many hundreds of people over the past 5 years have called me at 2 a.m. at the end of the rope and just said, "Hey, I saw your show. You said on stage when you sang everything you said before, anybody needs help, they just got to reach out." And I do leave that number open for people. It goes right to my cell phone, and I'll answer 24 hours a day.
Very cool, man. Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
so now what we've got is I'm starting a new foundation, and I'm not releasing all the information until next weekend. So maybe you guys can kind of pick it up on your show and say something about it maybe next week.
Okay.
But I've started a foundation. Every male in my family has not lived past 66, and that's a shame because there's a lot of good people. So I've worked together with the Hub Cyclery here in Kirkwood, and I got a new bicycle, and I'm going on a health blog that I do every week where basically I'm going to involve other people that want to ride bikes with me if they want to talk about music while we ride, and we're going to just start taking care of ourselves. But part of that's going to be to go into areas where there's a huge heroin problem with youth, and I mean youth, in their teens and their 20s. And instead of us trying to come up with money to keep trying to throw at things, I really want to start a grassroots thing here where we're actually spending time talking to these people, helping them, bringing the resources to them. Mm-hmm. All these organizations can raise money all day long. It's very impersonal, and there's just so many things that don't go right in that. But just imagine as a human being that you can go to a 16-year-old kid who thinks the world's not worth living, and he's sticking needles in himself every day. What if you could go and you could take that guy to lunch or put him on a bicycle next to you and say, "Come on, man, let's go for a ride. Let's make some new friends. Let's show you a different part of life." And if you can help them that way, there's just something deep inside my heart that tells me that playing music like I get to do and doing the things that I get to do with the band and getting some of that recognition, I can use that for a couple things. I can use that to try to get laid. I can use that to try to just do things for myself, or I can realize how fortunate I am that I even get that opportunity, and I can use that for good for other people. And I think that I'm going to go with that route. I just think that that's the best thing you could possibly do. If you get a chance to get people to know you and they trust you, well, let's spread that on to the next people.
Is there a link for that yet? Have you made a link for that
Not
yet?
yet. That's going to be my Facebook, and Bryan Chappell. People can friend me on Facebook. Okay. I generally accept almost everybody unless they're just crazy and I think I need the FBI to watch them. You can go Bryan Chappell. It's the same thing, just like it's spelled. And you'll see songwriter at Divine Sorrow, so you know it's me.
Cool.
And like I said, just basically just go on there and friend me. And next Saturday, I'm going to release all the information. I'm still getting everything right because I have to, at the foundation, I have a bunch of paperwork that still has to be finished. But when I get it and it's official, I'm going to put it out, and then I'm going to start the blog next week. And I'm going to start trying to change some lives. That's the plan.
Good for you, man. Good for you, man. Well, listen, Bryan, it's time to go, and I am so glad you joined us tonight. I almost didn't want to stop the interview, but we're out of time.
That's all right, buddy.
You used up all your allotted time, man. So,
that's all right. Good.
But Bryan, give our best to the band and let them know that we're rocking their music all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all the time. You can get your music, and we're going to put a lot more on there because you're going to send me everything you got. Okay, I want it all.
Dude, I will personally meet up with you and make sure you got everything. I may even have a T-shirt for you.
All right, excellent. I
you guys
will accept
are awesome,
that.
Man. Thanks so much.
All right, well, we'll see you on the 25th. I'll be at the show.
Man.
Okay, Thanks for calling in, man. Or thanks for taking my call. Thanks, dude.
Thanks, guys. See you, buddy.
See ya.
Keep rocking, man.
Wow, what a great fucking interview, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, that
very,
was-
very great speaker too.
Yeah.
His very clear and radio friendly voice.
yeah.
Better than some of us.
And that was on the friggin' phone.
I know.
That was on the phone.
So I just added him on Facebook. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
the rest of
He
you
is.
can too. Yeah.
Yeah, I already have been there, done that. So, yeah, he's. Let me see if I can get him to.
What are you doing? You can't do something. Stop talking because then it leaves me to have to talk. I don't know if you know that's not radio etiquette.
No, that's not good radio etiquette.
No.
I was trying to hang up on him, and I couldn't hang up on him. So, but he's gone now. So anyway, yeah, that was a good interview, and enjoyed
Well.
that very much. Yeah. So anyway,
Now, did you know?
Did
You're kind of loopy tonight, buddy.
Yeah, it's kind of strange tonight. I'm not in my best ways right now. Last week's show was my fault, and I want to apologize to our guest for missing the show last week. And I feel really bad about it. I've been thinking about it all week, and it's not like me to miss a show. And I apologize to our guest. That was kind of a shitty thing to do. So I kind of been thinking about that tonight, and
It
some
was.
other things.
But he was gracious of it.
Yeah, he was. And we did the interview, and you can catch the interview. And next week, I am going to play the interview prior to our show. Okay, so
Cool.
what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and yeah. So it'll be all good. But anyway, we're going to do it that way, and that'll be fun. So, what do you got going this week, Guido?
I've got, I have no life, so.
You have no life.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
have
Nothing
no
really
life?
special going on this week.
So you introduced a band and played KGF Rocks all?
Yeah, I play KGF Rocks and talked and shit. But, it was a busy night there for us. And
Yeah?
I was also on the grill. I was the grill master.
You were the grill master, huh?
Yeah,
Cooking up
yeah.
the food, huh?
Yeah, it
Excellent.
was cool, and it was a good turnout, and it was all. We always play KGF there, at least when I'm there. I don't know what
Right.
to do when I'm not there, but I'm there at least 3 days a week, so at least 3 days we're playing.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
A good turnout?
very good turnout. There was tons of people. We appreciated it. It was good. Yeah, rock on. Oh, I start my new tattoo this week.
You starting a new tattoo this week?
Yeah.
Sounds
Right.
like fun.
A zombie Elvis, man, or like a skeletal. It's cool. I'll show it to you when it's done. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going through my midlife crisis now, man. I'm going to get
Going through
tatted
your
up.
midlife crisis.
I'm going to be like Dave Lee Roth. He went for like 60 years without tattoos, and then he just got a whole fucking body full of them.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. Why not, right?
Well, why not?
Shit. It hides the flab better. For real, dude.
So this week's artist of the week is the Black Crowes, right?
That's one of my favorite bands ever. I absolutely, hands down. They're not the greatest musicians in the world. I'm not saying they're, oh my God, their guitar player's so great. But they're so good, and they got that classic Rolling Stone sound to me. Like, they carried on the torch.
Right.
And they're just gritty rock and roll, and I love them.
They are an awesome band. They really are, or were rather.
Well, they're still kind of together, not together. They're fighting each other over ownership of the Black Crowes' names, the two brothers, which is stop fighting, make up, whatever.
Well, whatever. Yeah.
And
Play some music.
it's the business side of it again. It always comes
Right.
into rear its ugly head. But I remember seeing the Black Crowes open up for ZZ Top in the early '90s, and I went to see ZZ Top, and the Black Crowes played first, and ZZ Top sucked to me after that because I just saw like the coolest thing in the world. They rocked my world. They really just, gave it their all, and it was cool. It was a cool show, and I was forever a fan after that.
Oh, well.
So sometimes those opening bands make more of an impression than the band you actually went to see.
Oh, I've done that before.
You know?
I've been to a show where the opening band just kicked the hell out of the headliner.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
great to find those bands. I mean, and you feel like you're the only person in the world. Oh my God, I found this hidden gem, and I just saw them open up for this, but they just open up in 20 other cities, and there's the same guys are saying that, you know. So that's how it spreads, and that's how music sells. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Are you even there? I think
I
we
know
lost
what you're talking. No, you didn't
Oh,
lose me. I'm just over here listening to you ramble on.
well, I have to ramble.
You have to ramble, yeah, because I'm dead over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that. Anyway, we got we're gonna do the schedule for the week, right?
Can you handle that, or you want me to do it? Or?
Yeah, I can handle it. I can handle it.
Okay.
We're rocking this week anyway. Okay, Zookeeper Bob and Rob Boyer is going to be on Monday, and then we got Diamond on Tuesday morning, or midday rather, and
Midday.
then Wednesday it's Wild Bill, and then you at 7 o'clock, and we got Zookeeper, and Thursday night that's Zookeeper, and then Mr. Bad Habit. If you haven't heard his show yet, you ought to tune in. He's good. He really is. He plays some kick-ass music. So I've been listening to him. And then we have Wild Bill Hill and Diamond closing it out on Friday night. Do we have DJs on Saturday? No. What for? Everybody's out partying, man.
Well, we're waiting. No, we're just waiting for the perfect candidate to come through, and we know you're out there.
We'd love to fill Saturday's slot if anybody wants it.
Yeah.
You know,
We'd like to fill a lot of slots, but Saturday slot would be good too. You know, get it?
That would
slot.
be good.
Fill the slot.
Fill slot. Fill that slot. And then on the Conjugal Visit show next week, right? Is that what we're looking at?
I don't know. Are we?
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. We're going to have a very special guest. You ready for this, man?
I'm ready.
You ready? Burden My Surrender.
All right.
Yeah, we're going to have the entire freaking band. We're going to have the entire freaking band. Why? What are you saying?
Because tire freaking bands sometimes are like trying to talk at an auctioneer fucking competition.
Oh, no. It's not that bad. We'll do, one will be the spokesperson.
Okay. It's gonna. We're gonna ask all whatever many are there. How many of them are Kiss fans? And we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. They're probably all Kiss fans.
Dude,
They're that age.
You're just gonna have to like stop and realize and put down the rock and roll crown onto the boys, okay? Because there's three artists and bands in this whole planet that inspired me the most, and I'll tell you who they are right now. That is Elvis Presley is always going to be number one for me. Swear to God.
Right.
And then it's Kiss, and then it's Prince. Those three people right there. If that's all I had to listen to for the rest of my life, I'd be happy.
Okay.
And it makes different. See, I know, like yours is the Beatles. You're a Beatle head.
Well, no, I'm a Beatles, but I like a lot of the new stuff that's out. I really do.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I never said I didn't like it, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. But I mean, as far as the Beatles, yeah, they were my beginning, but that's a cultural thing, man. That's who I began with. You began listening to Elvis. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think it's a cultural thing and an age difference, but it's not that it's a bad thing. It's kind of like, okay, you grew up in that. Your old man played Elvis around the house and stuff, and you listened to that, and you saw the movies and stuff that your mom was watching on the reruns. But I was watching them in the theater when they were being released with Elvis Presley and all them guys. So it was a cultural thing,
right?
And where we grew up. I think when you cross the two, it doesn't make a difference because it's music.
You're right, but I don't know where you went with that. Did that story have a point?
No. My point is my point is does it really matter who we admired when we grew up? Does that matter to you?
It does.
Huh?
Yeah, it does matter. Yeah, because the music that you grow up with, the music that you first hear, and that molds your musical journey, it should be special to you. I mean, and the stuff that
It's your soundtrack, right?
right,
It's
the
your-
stuff that you played when you were like growing up, all through your life. I'm not just talking about when you were a young kid.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just asking you the question and opening it up to you. That's all.
Right.
I'm just opening the question to you. It's the soundtrack of your life. So
It
I
is.
remember the days listening to Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young in the other room. My brother's in there, and I'm watching the CBS Evening News, watching the war in Vietnam.
Right.
Okay, Forrest Gump. Well, that's the truth. That's what we did,
Right.
and that was our culture. Your culture was something completely different.
Yeah.
And I think music has crossed paths admirably, and I think there is better music out there today. I
There
think
is
a lot
better
of bands. I mean, there is better music. There's just so much of it that it's hard to get it all unless it's put in your face,
Right.
and that's the only way you can do it. And if you've got a hard driving band that's passionate and wants to win and be a great band, then by God, you hitched up with the right band. You better fucking rock and roll.
You better
That's
do
the
it.
way you better do it. And that's all there is
And
to
you're
it.
right, but you know what? Kiss rocks.
Kiss does rock.
Yes.
Kiss
And-
does rock. The original Kiss rocks.
No. All Kiss rocks.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's kind of kid shit now, but that's
It's
beside
not
the
kid.
point. No, come on, man. I mean, lose it. Lose the makeup. Lose it all. See you later. Bye. It's over. It's over.
Were you in a
No,
tomb in the 80s?
I mean, when's it gonna end? We're gonna be up there and see him fucking walk up there with a fucking walker. Come on, man. Let's go, man. You made billions of dollars.
What about Paul McCartney still doing it, charging fucking
Hey, he'll be doing the same thing. I
$10
have no
billion
admiration.
a ticket?
I like these younger guys that are out there hustling it, man, trying to make a fucking living.
Right.
I really am. I've really started to become more passionate about this, about these younger artists, and about these newer bands that are out there and they don't have a fucking chance, man. They don't have a fucking chance. They're fucking rocking against the fucking corporate shit in America. That's what's wrong with KC. That's what's wrong with all the stations. Corporate has stuck their fucking thumb on their fucking neck. You either do this or you're out the fucking door.
Right.
I mean, what the fuck's up with that? I remember when radio was free, man.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's really never been free. I mean, once you set up an organization like that, I mean, back in the 50s, and they used to do payola. They used to pay the DJs to put it on.
Right.
So
I understand it.
I mean, that wasn't fair advantage. The music industry's always been tough, but now they had a bigger medium. They just need to. Nobody needs to sell records anymore. They need to give the music away and then go on tour. That's where you make the money.
That's where you make the money. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh no, I agree. But you got to get them to play it.
Sure.
You got to get them to play it, otherwise it doesn't get heard. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Are we about out of time?
You're about out of time, I think, man.
I think I am about out of time. It's been a long weekend, man. I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's been brutal. I'm beat, and it was tough. It was hot. It was 98 degrees today in St. Louis. So it was cooker, man, and I'm exhausted, and it's crash time, man. Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, and thanks for listening in to the interview. It was an awesome interview. We had a really, 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 really good time, and we do appreciate you coming on board on listening. Okay? Thank you very much. And tell a friend about us here at kgfrocks.com and the Conjugal Visit Show. Thanks for tuning in, okay? We've beaten this one to death. We're out of here. See you later.
Later.
It's Sunday night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.